On a wet, tense night before Christmas, a woman berates a teen cashier at a busy grocery store until a line cook steps in and quietly pays her entire bill. His choice costs him nearly all his money in a missed bus, yet it diffuses the scene and changes the tone of the store. That shocking moment inspires small ripples. Others help bag, policies shift, and kindness spreads, leading to a restrained, hopeful close. Just a quick note before we begin. Hit like, share this with a friend, and subscribe for more. Also, let me know in the comments which country you're watching from. It always amazes me how far these stories travel. The grocery store doors wheezed open and gulped in the slush and cold. Evening crowds moved in clumps, the way people do when a storm is coming, and tomorrow is Christmas Eve, and someone forgot nutmeg. The floor mats were soaked. The entryway smelled like wet mittens. Holiday music tried its best from a speaker that had a buzz. A kid in a blue polo scanned things too fast. Beep, beep. Apology smile, beep. His cheeks were pink from nerves and cold. He wore braces that flashed in the light when he said hello. Near the carts, an older man in a green apron limped a little and stacked baskets. He wore a knit beanie and fingerless gloves with a hole in the left one. He kept a rag tucked into his belt. He hummed a carol, but quiet, like it was for himself. Most people looked past the older bagger like he was a coat hook. He moved like he knew the store better than anyone. He caught a roll of paper towels a toddler knocked and put them back without a fuss. He touched each item with care. Cans turned label out, bread on top, eggs nowhere near the juice. A customer said, "No plastic, please," and he nodded 3 times like he was making a promise. Outside, a sleet line tapped the windows. Each time the doors breathed, cold air slid in and made everyone smaller. It was the kind of night when even the tough and late shift felt thin. At Register 5, the line stacked up like luggage. Grocery carts pushed in tight, one wheel on each squealing. People took turns checking their phones and staring at the holiday display. A giant pyramid of candy canes leaned like a slow-motion game of Jenga. The kid in the blue polo at Register 5 swallowed and kept pace. He did his script exactly. "Hi. Did you find everything? Do you have the card?" His hands shook when he lifted a gallon of milk. The older bagger took the bags and made them neat, paper sleeves for the bottles. All the tricks you learn when your body hurts, if you have to lift twice. The woman in the red coat slammed a frozen turkey onto the belt as if it owed her rent. "Foupon," she said. "So, Afghan," she said. Her voice cut through the store. She shoved a printout toward the kid. "And the price on the ad is wrong. Don't play with me. I ordered this last week, and your people screwed it up." The kid glanced at the screen. The ad was folded in half and wet at the edges. He scanned the code. The register made a sound like a shrug. "I think," he started, but his voice cracked. "I think that one only—" "Get your manager," she said loud. "I've been here 20 minutes. This is theft. On Christmas. Are you kidding me?" A boy behind her pulled his hoodie up and started to film. A baby in a car seat began to cry, hiccuping sobs. The red coat lady slapped the coupon on the counter again. The older bagger flinched in a way that said he was expecting it and had been expecting it for years. The manager was not there. He was in the little office with the glass window, but the blinds were down. You could see the glow around them. The kid's hands hovered over the keys and found nowhere to land. "Ma'am, I want to help," he said. Soft. He looked like he meant it. The woman in the red coat rolled her eyes so hard you could feel it in the next aisle. "Don't call me ma'am, ma'am. Learn to do your job. Oh my God. I don't have all day. I need to get to church." The older bagger shifted, put one paper bag near the turkey to show he was ready. He didn't say anything. He didn't look at her face. He angled his body a little closer to the kid, like a hill against wind. The man in the grease-stained hoodie was halfway through the express lane with milk and bread. He had a grey diner cap stuffed into his pocket and smelled faintly of onions and fryer. His hands were nicked up like he chopped fast. He watched the scene in that way. Kitchen people watch a line about to crash. He looked at the kid. He looked at the red coat. He looked at the manager's blinds. He put his milk and bread on the gum rack and stepped out of the line, leaving his spot. He stepped between the red coat and the kid without squaring his shoulders. "It's just a coupon," he said, but quiet, not to her, more to the air. He turned to the kid. "Ring it." The red coat planted her hand on her hip. "Who are you?" she said. "Excuse me, you don't get to—" He didn't look at her. He tapped the keypad where the kid's finger hovered. "Scan it," he said gentler. "If it doesn't, I've got it." The kid blinked. "Sir, you can't. It's fine," he said. He pointed his chin at the next person's salad greens. "We all want to go home." His voice wasn't big, but it held weight. The older bagger straightened just a little. The kid scanned the coupon again. The register peeped wrong. The kid's mouth tightened. He slid his debit card, eyes down, like he was paying for gas. The screen blinked. The red coat's total showed up, $187.36. The kid looked at him like, "Are you sure?" He nodded. The kid pressed a key. The register hummed and spat paper. The red coat went redder. "I don't need your charity," she said. It came out like a threat. He handed her the receipt anyway. "You don't," he said. "But the kid needs a break." She took the bags 3 at a time, like she could lift the whole problem and carry it to her SUV. The older bagger packed fast, hands flying, labels out even now. She walked away in a snow of perfume and offended air. The store shifted. The music grew louder for a second. Or maybe it just felt like that. The baby hiccuped once and went quiet. Someone breathed out. The boy with the hoodie lowered his phone and looked at the floor like maybe it could give him advice. The older bagger slid a bag toward the cook, and the man took it without thinking and started bagging. "Bread up, eggs, safe." He moved with someone who had stacked plates through a rush and knew load-bearing spots. The manager's door opened. He came out in a white shirt with a tie, trapped under one second-hand Santa's lanyard. His smile was too bright for the room. "Everything okay here?" he said. The smile said he knew it wasn't and wanted to skip the part where it got worse. The kid swallowed again. "It's okay," he said, and his eyes flicked at the man in the hoodie. "We're good." The manager nodded. He grabbed a bag and put 2 cans in it, both upside down. The older bagger gently flipped them without a word. By the time the next person stepped up, the tension had drained down into the floor with the slush. The line moved. The worker in the hoodie had his milk and bread back. He slid to the side out of the stream. He didn't wait for thanks. He didn't put his hand up in a hero pose. He checked the time on his cracked phone and winced like something in his head did the math and didn't love it. Outside, the parking lot hissed with sleet and brake lights. He pushed through the doors into the cold. The sleet found every open seam in his hoodie. He tucked his chin. His phone buzzed again. Low balance, $15.23, and he turned the screen down like an embarrassment. He had a folded flyer in his back pocket for a used bike, with a grin of a sticker on the frame. He'd circled it with a pen. He had an envelope with some cash inside, soft from being counted. He pressed it, then pulled his hand away. He looked up at the bus stop. A bus he needed hissed to a stop, let 2 people off, and then sighed away into the wet dark without him. He closed his eyes for a second. He could walk. It wasn't far if you've been on your feet since 9. You can always say that to yourself. "Hey," someone said behind him. The voice was worn smooth. "You dropped this." The older bagger held out a black glove, damp. He had come into the sleet without a coat. His breath came out in ghosts. "Thanks," the man said. He pulled it on. It was a little tighter with the water. The older bagger dug in his pocket. He pulled out a thin plastic sleeve, the kind that keeps a bus card. "It's a day pass," he said, like maybe he was breaking a rule. Someone left it, good until midnight. He held it between 2 fingers, waiting. "I'm okay," the man in the hoodie said, then saw the older bagger's face. The way giving it seemed to set something right in him. He took it. "I'll get it back to you." The older bagger shrugged and looked at his shoes. "My wife needs her oxygen at 8, he said. It came out like he hadn't planned to say it. "I can walk." He touched the spot above his heart like he was checking his own pulse. "It's only a few blocks." The man in the hoodie looked at the bus, pulling up on a different line. He looked at the older bagger's thin gloves. He looked at the envelope in his pocket. He handed the pass back. "Take it," he said. "I'll cut through by the diner." They stood for a second in the sleet, each of them trying to be the one to walk. The older bagger finally took the pass and gave a stiff half smile that said both thank you and sorry for being seen. "Merry Christmas," he said. It sounded like a wish he hoped would stick to something. Back inside, the kid at Register 5 closed his drawer with both hands like it weighed something. He wiped his eyes with the back of his wrist and then laughed at himself for doing that. He took a breath that reached the bottom of his ribs. A woman halfway down the line who had been filming earlier slid her phone into her bag, face down. She stepped around to the bagging station and started to help a man with too much soda. "I used to do this in college," she said to no one, as if to explain herself to a jury that wasn't there. The manager stood at the front, rolled his sleeves up to the elbows in a real way this time, and rang people through "No more office." He took the mic and said, If your coupon's off, we're honoring it tonight. We're short-staffed. Thank you for your patience." His voice shook a little on the thank you. The kid at 5 saw a woman come through with a paper list and worry on her face. Her total clicked past what her eyes said she had. He tapped the key he wasn't supposed to unless a manager was watching. He took a few dollars off. The manager saw him do it and didn't say anything except, "Nice job," and kept bagging. The boy who filmed bought a stack of candy canes and handed them out down the line for the wait, he said. And when someone asked if he was on TikTok, he said, "Not tonight." Near closing, a woman in a knit hat brought a shoebox of cookies to the service desk for whoever cleans up after us, she said. The older bagger carried it to the break room like it weighed more than it did. Later, in the diner kitchen, the man folded the receipt into a small, clumsy star. He stood on the rubber mat by the fryer, heat on his face, coal still on his back. He had come in late, with wet cuffs, and the cook he partnered with had just nodded at the sight of him, eyes saying all the words they didn't have time to say. The tickets, clipped to the rail like flags, kept him busy enough to stop thinking. When the rush slowed, he took the receipt from his pocket. The numbers ran where the sleet had touched them. He smoothed it and made the first fold, then another. He had watched a video once. He couldn't get the points even, but he kept folding. People think you help someone and that's it. A clean line. It isn't. It gets inside of you and rattles around with the other things you can't fix. His rent, the bike flyer, the text from his ex about their daughter being up too late because she was too excited to sleep. The way the older bagger had offered that pass like a gift he needed to give. In the trash zone, a bus pass, used and soft, sat on top of yesterday's newspapers. He fished it out and stuck it in the break room corkboard with a pushpin and a Sharpie note. Good until midnight. Share. The next day, the kid who ran Register 5 brought in a handmade sign with crooked letters. "Thank you for being kind." He taped it to his screen. No one told him to take it down. 2 regulars who never picked up a cart, unless it had perfect wheels, started pushing in a row of them from the lot every time they came. They did it like it was a secret handshake and not a chore. The manager wrote a note on the schedule board. "If someone starts giving you grief, you don't stand alone. Call me." He underlined it. He stood up front more. The older bagger came in with new fingerless gloves, the kind with mitten caps that flip. You could tell they were cheap, and you could tell they were warm. He didn't say where he got them. He moved easier. The man in the hoodie found a used bike that wasn't the one on the flyer. It was smaller, red, with one reflector hanging by a wire. It wasn't pretty. Someone from the building sold it to him for cheap. He tightened the chain in the alley and cleaned the seat with a rag he kept in his pocket. He taped the crooked paper star to the handlebars. He didn't tell anyone what he had done at the store. When people came into the diner on Christmas morning for coffee and toast, he poured the coffee like he always did. He slid a plate to the older bagger when he walked in with his beanie flattened from a bus nap. No money changed hands at the register for that plate. Nobody made a speech about it. The older bagger ate every bite and left a napkin folded into a small heart by the sugar caddy. Snow kept falling in quiet, patient lines. On the walk home, the man's boots made shallow prints that filled in behind him. The grocery store, sign across the lot, buzzed and flickered. The only red and green left in a town gone grey. He lifted a hand when he saw the older bagger at the cart corral, returning the last 2 strays. The older bagger lifted his hand back. A single red mitten sat on the cold metal rail, catching flakes. It made the only bright spot in a picture full of white and dark and waiting. The wind pushed the sleet into softer snow, and the night breathed out.